Hey everybody, it is Hutch again with the Survival University. Today, I'm kind of excited because as survival instructors, we day in, do out, we're trying new things, we're trying old things. So we get a lot more experimenting than a lot of people. And when I was a kid, I saw my grandpa, he took me to a pioneer fair or something, and a guy lit fire with his flintlock rifle. He just put it in there, whoosh, had fire. It was super cool. And I've seen in tons of military manuals that you can pull a round apart and be able to make fire. And we thought, what if we had a student that was maybe hurt or maybe hadn't practiced enough or who'd never even done bow drill or hand drill or fire plow before? They just had seen it on TV and thought, I can do that. And then they get out there like you see on all the reality TV and they just can't get it. They just can't get it. What if they were a hunter or a fisherman, or what are some ways they could cheat this technique and actually get their fire? And we decided that we would start with one that, like I said, I've never tried, but I've read about a lot. And let's see what we can do with the black powder from our hunting round and some kind of primitive fire. Now you can pull ammunition apart, or here I'm going to cut it because it's shotgun. Now sometimes I get lucky. If you cut right at that cardboard plug in there, it'll make two containers, which allows you to be able to, oh, and I'm missing it. I'm getting the black powder. That's okay, but sometimes you get lucky and you cut right through that and then you have two containers. So you have the BB stored for later project. But if you miss it, no big deal. What you do want to make sure is you don't lose any of this valuable powder. Now that's the primer. Some methods and some guns allow you to use the primer to make a fire, but some of those methods are kind of dangerous, and depending on what gun you have, you might not be able to do that. I want to get as much of that black powder together as possible and put it right under my notch. Okay, then whatever tinder I'm using, that flash tinder, I want to get that really, really close to it, because it's just going to be a whoosh. And depending on who loaded your rounds or where they're from, this can be a big whoosh or this can just be kind of a firework whoosh. And if I have any kind of extender, a PJ Cube, fat wood, anything like that, I want that right behind it so this fire goes. Now, if I didn't have that, what do? If I can find some fat wood or any good tinder, I get that really close so that while I only have a second or two with this fire, I can just roll it over right on top. So literally what's going to happen is there's going to be enough heat to make that black powder go, which will light this flash tinder, which will burn quick, which I've got to now get this over and make sure I have enough oxygen to catch on fire. And then I can either build my fire here or transfer this to my fire lay. Put it out. Where was that one a second ago? So this is one of those things that's going to look a lot easier than it is, just because you're having to take a tiny little fire, or you might even make an ember, which is fine too, and you're going to have to build it up. But in just setting up videos and stuff, we do this stuff again and again and again, and there are definitely some things you can do that mess it up, just like with regular fires. So you might want to consider, like I've got some moisture in my tinder now, might be worth it to put a little bit of that black powder inside of my tinder. Fluff it up some more. Get that out of there. That's big. That's not going to burn. Just take some extra time to fluff it. Maybe even crumble up some punkwood or some chaga and put it there. Then if you don't get a fire, you've got the possibility of getting an ember, and then you can blow that ember into flames. With any of this kind of stuff, when you've moved away from your ferro rod and your lighter, you got to start thinking in multiple dimensions, because it might not always work the same way it does in your backyard. Obviously, this is cool, but we're not advocating leaving your lighter and your ferro rod or not practicing your skills. We're simply saying that, survival is defined as using what you have to get what you need to affect the results you want. And we just want you to think a little bit MacGyver. And certainly, if you don't know how to use any of the things we mentioned, visit us at a class or watch some of our other videos. But we would absolutely advocate you carry something like our Ultimate Winter Fire Kit as opposed to relying on this full time. All right. Put it out again. Just didn't get it far enough over in time. It's not going to go up anyway. I think it just needs so much air. It burns so fast. I'm going to try just doing it without anything like this in it. It's curious. Now's the time you'd want to be able to get this into a fire, get something else above it, start building your fire, because as you can see, it's kind of hit or miss with this method. Everything's got to happen fast. That's why, as always, we advocate prepare, prepare, prepare. And then we would just build this up into our fire lay that we were setting up earlier. Now, do not panic at this point in time and smother your fire. You want to start breaking off those small branches, getting them on there. If you have to add oxygen, it doesn't matter if the guy on YouTube doesn't. You do whatever it takes at this point in time to get these small pieces of resinous wood going. Don't build too fast. Do not smother your fire. Just build it up at little increments. See how that wood's finally starting to catch now? Now I can add a little bit more, because we're dealing with not great situations here. Now, once this fire is sustained, we can start shunking stuff on there. But there's a lot of moisture in the air from the snow. So obviously different rounds, a 22 versus a 30-06 versus a shotgun. It's gonna have different grain weights, different amounts, even different sizes of powder. So that is something to take into consideration. But no matter what you've got, you can obviously hit it with a lighter. You should be able to hit it with your ferro rod. Be able to do solar, any type of heat that you can get in there. But as you can see, this is a flash tinder supreme. You've got just a few seconds to get on top of that. And as we learned through the trials, if your tinder's too close, because it's burned so fast, all you'll get is a really pungent smoke, whether it's shotgun, 30-06, it doesn't matter. It just kind of makes smoke bomb and goes out. So you've only got about, what was that, maybe 3 seconds to get your nice processed tinder up to the top of that heat. Remember, that top of the fire is the hottest. Then when that catches fire, you move on. Well, everybody, today was an absolute blast. I certainly learned something. I hope you did. One of the real reasons that I recommend classes is because we're kind of like America's test kitchen. We went through so many rounds and so many different tinders today to find out what we want to be able to tell our students about this. And these are my closing remarks on it. Number one, make sure you're prepared. As with any fire, process, and then process a little bit more, right? And what we found is the tendency is to want to get everything close because you've only got like 3 seconds of flame, but it burns so hot so fast. Remember that fire triangle, right? We've got heat, we've got fuel, we've got oxygen. There is so much heat from this black powder, whether it was our shotgun, our 30-06, our 22, it didn't matter. There's just so much heat. It expels, or uses up rather, that oxygen so quickly, you just get a really pungent smoke bomb. So we found you actually had to go against your instincts, take it a step back, get everything set up and ready and close, and just use that 3 seconds wisely, get in there on fire, and you were good. You have 3 seconds. It's like holding your lighter for 3 seconds to make your fire. I believe that this method would probably work too if you had some damaged matches. So that's probably what we'll try next. Anyway, remember, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're learning, there is no such thing as a small adventure. And thank you for visiting us. Before I go, we have one more video that we did a couple days ago. It's on a real emergency fire kit. And after doing something like this and seeing just how difficult it is to do some of the methods that in our brain we say, obviously that'll work, it's black powder, but will it really work on game day? I wouldn't have had 20, 30, 40, 100 rounds to go through to find the best way to do this. I would have had 1, 2, maybe 3 rounds. So make sure to check out some of our other videos on being prepared, some of them on the skills, and then obviously these videos on the sort of, I'm having a bad day, what do I do now kind of a thing. Thanks for joining us, and I can't wait to see you out here.